Hey everyone, Travis here from Highstreet. Whether you're a die-hard fan of the isekai, sci-fi virtual world genre, or simply hopping onto the hype train after Facebook's inglorious rebranding, chances are you've heard the term metaverse. The metaverse is a concept made popular by the 1992 science fiction novel Snow Crash by American writer Neil Stephenson. The concept behind it was simple: a shared virtual space that is persistent and constituted of all our realities, including the virtual, the augmented, and the internet. Today, this concept is prevalent across the globe, from Japanese anime Sword Art Online to the ultimate tribute to 80s pop culture Ready Player One. These ideas that one day gaming technology will be advanced enough to induce humanity into a permanent and perpetual state of alternate reality seems to paint to a future that has all been inevitable. After all, the only difference between the real and virtual world is the amount of data being transferred. So how far are we from being able to comatose ourselves into our favorite video game? Today, I'll break down everything that needs to happen to achieve this imminent future by highlighting the tech, the content, and finally the timeline. Let's start with tech. Ever since pixels took to the screens, geeks and nerds have taken to perfect the art of immersive storytelling. The console war era between Nintendo and Sega gave us the heavyweight battle to embody 8-bit characters on a screen, controlling their every movement with a joystick and a handful of buttons. Then came the era of Quake and Doom, where John Carmack's fast inverse square root algorithm took the Avatar game into first person. Now armed with a mouse and keyboard, warriors can defeat hordes of aliens and demons with unprecedented precision. After that, the world moved towards online gaming, and all was history. It seemed the perfect form of gaming had already been achieved. There are the periodic scrimmages between the PC master race and the console addicts. There are the squabbles between the convex and concave controllers between Xbox and PlayStation fanboys. For the most part, it's a TV screen and a form of mechanical control that define what it means to interact with the virtual world. That is until 2014, a small Kickstarter project named Oculus was acquired by social media conglomerate Facebook for more than $2 billion. This challenged the status quo of gaming and unlocked a new wave of possibilities to designers and developers everywhere. No longer are we confined to pixels on a pancake screen. With a high pixel density OLED panel, a gyroscope, some optics, and a state-of-the-art mobile GPU, gamers can finally block out reality and submerge themselves into the worlds they love. The current landscape of virtual reality consists mostly of bulky headsets and a massive PC to provide the rendering. But this is rapidly changing. Headsets are getting smaller and lighter every year, and with the rise of standalone headsets and 5G technology, it seems that we're only a couple years away from having cloud VR gaming. Projects like Stadia and NVIDIA XR Cloud have made massive breakthroughs to compute the process of high-fidelity games in the cloud and send direct frames to client-end devices. Even today, an early demonstration of this can be achieved by Shadow PC. If you live near any of their core service zones, you can try it out. As adoptions grow, peripheral and haptic devices also start to appear. For locomotion, there's Cat VR that use sensors on the shoes to create an omni sliding platform for players to simulate walking. There's Infinideck, on the other hand, which is not as consumer-ready but creates a true omnidirectional treadmill experience like the one we see in Ready Player One. For those without space or don't feel like committing thousands of dollars on locomotion, there are options like Cyber Shoes, where you strap on sensors to your feet and you have a little bit of simulated mobility without committing all the way. Haptic feedback is also important to scale immersion beyond visuals and audios. Companies like bHaptics and Tesla Suits give us full-body sensations to simulate getting shot, punched, or simply touched in virtual reality. While haptic glove providers like haptX or Dexmo provide the ability for you to reach out and touch others. Beyond wearables, there are also startups like Emerge conducting research in projected haptics. Using an array of ultrasound emitters, Emerge can simulate touch by projecting shapes into thin air for users in VR to interact with. Now, while the development of all these reality-skipping technology is super exciting for the VR purists like myself, sometimes you can't help but wonder whether this is the only path towards diving into digital worlds. While there are a handful of companies developing VR headsets, most only differ by small details. High-contrast LCD panels instead of OLED, or LiDARs mounted on a wall for tracking instead of camera-based inside-out computer vision tracking. I personally am pondering the possibilities of directly tapping into the brain rather than tricking it. This veers a little closer to technologies being developed at Elon Musk's Neuralink, but I like to entertain this thought for a second. When you dream, everything seems real. You can hear, you can see, you can touch, perhaps even smell everything around you. And that is because when we're dreaming, we're in REM sleep, the part of the sleep cycle where the brain is most active. In fact, brain imaging of sleep study patients demonstrate that during REM sleep, our MRI activities look practically identical to when we're awake. Your motor cortex continues to send a barrage of signals to your spinal cord, and if not for your local inhibitory interneurons, everyone would be sleepwalking and acting out their dreams. Now imagine if we could tap into this neural and natural function of the body, induce a dream state, then we no longer have to worry about these peripheral hardwares or bulky headsets or lack of processing power. This leads me to the next topic of this breakdown, content. The human brain, aside from being the ultimate hardware, is also the ultimate creator of content. With just a picture or a few lines of text from a book, our mind can construct wildly imaginative worlds that inspire us to tell even more vivid stories. From the beginning, games were just a way for creators to express themselves in an artistic manner. Worlds dreamt up by the designers, represented by colorful pixels splattered across the screen. We journey through vast mazes thought out by their creators and dive deep into secrets of dungeons and fantasy towns to discover Easter eggs that further connects us with the creator behind it all. Even when mass commercialization happened, with the likes of the AAA studios pumping out reskinned versions of the same game over and over again, the spirit of gaming remained strong in indie titles. However, this began to change when the metaverse started to evolve. When you take the power to create worlds as detailed and as vivid as our own, and pair it with decentralized blockchain technology, the game is no longer a representation of the owner or author's imagination, but instead a representation of the collective players who inhabit it. When the virtual world is built by its residents, then the game becomes a metaverse. With the rise of social spaces like VR chat and Minecraft, we see a community rise through creation. Furthermore, as chain games and Web3 technology develops, we see the community grow even more, enticed by the idea of staking one's true claim in a world in which they can truly own a piece. The future seems clear. Instead of building individual pieces of content, creators of the future will build on interconnected shared spaces, where persistent identity and digital ownership can transfer between worlds, extending our suspension of disbelief indefinitely forever. However, as idealistic as this seems, we are just not quite there yet. Well, like how YouTube democratized user-generated video content, I have no doubt that eventually our digital worlds will also be built by users. Where things differ, however, is timeline, which leads me to my final point of this breakdown. While video content has had its luxury of being built on a backbone of a technology developed since the 1990s, metaverse and gaming are just beginning to scratch the surface of its modern form. To build a user-generated platform for modern gaming would be akin to building YouTube when smartphones haven't been invented yet. YouTube wouldn't work if every piece of content uploaded required a camera the size of your fridge to produce. For now, I think user-generated metaverses will remain fixated in the low-poly style of Roblox or Minecraft. However, in a couple of years, 3D asset generation and auto-optimization will make creating high-fidelity content as easy as shooting 4K videos today. Right now, we have bulky VR headsets, finicky peripheral haptic technologies, and also refined-looking virtual worlds as our metaverse. But we also have a vibrant community, some of the smartest engineers, and an internet where almost everything or anything can be found. Next year, Apple is most definitely unveiling their headsets. Many Web3 VR games are also going to start releasing their play-to-earn content, and the community will grow even stronger. I am an absolute believer that in the span of 3 to 5 years, every household will adopt some kind of way to tether themselves into the oasis, and that in some form or the other we will all be working from within the metaverse. Highstreet World is an MMORPG that turns real products from real brands into in-game objects. We strive to bridge the real and virtual worlds together in preparation for the day that everything blends into one metaverse. Our goal is to reinvent how we shop and take everything we learned about gaming and apply it to the retail industry. As e-commerce grew, shopping became more and more frictionless, but at the same time the sense of adventure also became lost. With the metaverse, we can retain the same efficiency as e-commerce, but also make shopping social again. At Highstreet, physical products gain new utilities. In the metaverse, a shirt can become an armor, and a perfume bottle can become a potion. I hope you all enjoyed my little breakdown here, and I truly wish to meet all of you in the metaverse one day.